Hello guys, it's Brian again. Today is day 4 of the 90-day challenge of using AI LLMs to guide me through my entire trading decisions. And so today is actually pretty special, given that it's the Monday pre-market and already placed all my orders on my Investopedia trading simulator. And so let's get through the general decisions, some pre-market orders, and moves one by one. So the first one, let's get to GPT. So what GPT suggested was to once again encouraging me to hold both my positions at Apple as well as Microsoft. There isn't really much reasoning to it, I would say, in terms of the analysis of why I should be holding on the stocks. Rather, just keeps on reiterating that there is not very much new macroeconomic news. There's not a lot of equity market or company specific events that are happening, and most of the Fed decisions as well as statements are made during midweek, so there isn't really much to talk about. So that's why sort of what that I will not be selling a PL, Apple, or Microsoft pre-market. No, just literally no change with my current positions for GPT, and that's basically it for GPT. Now, as for Gemini, the position remains the same, but then once again, I feel like it sometimes used like a very, very strong optimistic tone in terms of how right now it's like very, very crucial to buy VST. So then I've just placed two buy orders on VST. Hopefully this time the trade will get through. The general strategy that Gemini suggested is since the closing price dropped to around 160-ish, that is a good time to buy back since basically Gemini believes that there's a strong cash flow incoming after a signing with like a 20-year deal with Meta. So that's the nuclear power deal scenario and saying that how it's going to be more stable and it's going to be keep on growing. So that's what it rationalized for its decision. Now, it also did caution me to take a look at the market sentiment, though. Like, unlike GPT, it sort of talked about how it gives me the data on how the U.S. futures are currently down, including Nasdaq and S&P are down around 1% today during the pre-market. And there's also a Justice DOJ investigation on the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, which raises a concern regarding to the overall inflation macroeconomic sentiment according to Gemini. And yeah, so as well as for Intel and Amazon, it's like still remaining very strong, thinking that it's going to surge around like a very high percentage and continue growing on. And for Nvidia, the sentiment's still high, and so that's why I will be holding my rest of the positions for Gemini's, like the Gemini's Investopedia portfolio, and buy additional two VST shares. And there is a interesting fact though on terms of Claude where there's like a huge complete change in recommendation according to Claude. It's especially narrowing down on the Fed investigation situation and scenario we just mentioned. It's doubling down on the narrative of such and talking about how this is a massive development that broke Sunday night and is dominating the Monday pre-market and is very, very important. And it relates to sort of why the futures are currently down because there's currently a risk off market sell off according to Claude. And so this will basically result in a new tense, I guess, stage of standoff between the federal government and the Fed, according to Claude, and talking about how the market reaction as of right now is that the market is being crushed, and gold, which is usually an asset for hedging your risk from the stock market, is at all-time high, where the spot gold is up 1% and futures are up 2%, and there's a tech leading sell-off. So essentially what the recommendation right now is to sell the currently overbought defensive stock XAR. During the pre-market order, I already pre-ordered a sell order on XAR for one share to be exact, and that's basically it for Claude. So in general, based on the current analysis, it seems that GPT did not really provide any context, but just sort of, I guess, thinking that I guess the threshold for what constitutes as a major macroeconomic event is less for GPT. I guess there's more of a risk tolerance from GPT as opposed to Claude and Gemini. Gemini is like more of like a middle between the two, and Claude is like, I guess in right now, more slightly risk averse and completely changing its recommendations based on the news. I'm not sure because I'm using the same prompt, so I suppose that the sensitivity should have been the same, but I'm not sure if they're encoded to be different in terms of the risk aversion. But I guess we'll just see how this pans out tomorrow during the update, whether their portfolios are going to be the right decision made by each chatbot, or are some of these advices going to be like complete like bad decisions or like incomplete information or research, etc. So that's it for today's I guess short episode. Remember to subscribe and keep on following my journey in terms of this 3-month experiment.